Hi children, today we are discussing grade 7 history lesson The Sultans of Delhi. The period from AD 1206 to 1526 is known as the period of Delhi Sultanate. These sultans ruled India as Delhi as its capital from 13th to 16th century. And you have to understand that before 12th century, Delhi was not a main capital region. Earlier to 12th century, we have Kaveri Delta region which influenced the most regions of Indian subcontinent. In the earlier lessons, we have studied that the Tomars of Rajputs built the city of Delhi in 8th century and it was annexed by the Chauhans. Prithviraj Chauhan was the most powerful ruler of Chauhans. Under Tomars and Chauhans, Delhi became a commercial center. Many rich Jaina merchants lived in the city, constructed many temples. The coins minted there was called Delhi Wall. Prithviraj Chauhan was defeated by Muhammad Ghori. And after Rajputs, the control of Delhi was taken over by early Turkish rulers. So let us start our lesson. In this lesson, we are discussing 5 dynasties of Delhi. They are early Turkish rulers, that is Slave dynasty, Khalji dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty, Sayyid dynasty and Lodi dynasty. So these are the prominent dynasties ruled Delhi as the capital and control entire northern parts of the subcontinent. Moving on the first topic, how did the historians came to know about Delhi Sultan rule? That is the source of information. Inscriptions, coins and architecture provide a lot of information about the Delhi Sultanate. Coins printed by different rulers gave some of the valuable information regarding who is the ruler of that time and the architecture, the beautiful buildings constructed by different rulers gave information about those times. And besides, we have Tariq or Tawarik. These are written documents wrote by eminent persons or scholars. That is, well educated man lived in the court. They used to record the things what the king has done. So these eminent people included secretaries, administrators, poets or courtiers. They advised the king in administration. This Tawarik has some limitations. We know that these scholars are living with the king in the court. They have to please the king and they are expecting rich rewards from the king. So they are praising the king and they are not able to face the problems of the villages because they are living with the king in the villages and they all are believed in the ideal social order. So these are the some limitations of Tawarik. So all these are acted as the sources of information for the historians to deal with the empire. That is inscriptions, coins, architecture, Tariq or Tawarik. All these help the historians to understand the system of administration during the Delhi Sultanate. The Slave Dynasty. Qutub din-Aibak was the first sultan of the Slave Dynasty. He was one of the generals of Muhammad Ghori. And after the death of Muhammad Ghori, Qutub din-Aibak began to rule as an independent ruler. He was very kind-hearted man and so he was known as the Lakh Baksh or the donor of lakh. He built the Quwwatul Islam Mosque in Delhi and he started the construction of the beautiful Qutub Minar and later this construction was completed by his son-in-law Iltutmish. Qutb din-Aibak was succeeded by Iltutmish. Iltutmish was considered as the consolidator of the slave dynasty. He had to face many problems, but all these problems were solved by his great intelligence. He fought against the Turkish nobles and the Rajput rulers in the north. He defeated the rulers of Ujjain and Ratnambor and consolidated his position in the northwest. Iltutmish annexed Bihar and Bengal to his empire, and he completed the construction of the beautiful Qutub Minar. He had many sons, but he did not consider them are capable and decided to crown his daughter Razia as the Sultan. And after his death, the nobles crowned his son Ruknuddin Firoz Shah, but he failed to manage the affairs of the kingdom and he was succeeded by Razia. Razia Sultana was the daughter of Sultan Iltutmish and she became Sultan in 1236. Though she was a brilliant and capable ruler, her reign was full of problems as she faced many rebellions from the nobles of her dynasty. The nobles thought that Razia was violating the traditions of Islam. She wore a male attire and rode an elephant, and the nobles hated taking order from a woman. Finally, the nobles conspired against her and killed her in the battle. Even though Razia succeeded in establishing law and order in her empire, the nobles conspired against her. Razia lies buried in a grave in Turkman Gate as a great woman warrior of her times. Next came Ghiyasuddin Balban. Balban was the last important slave king. He was also a very powerful ruler. He reorganized his army and fought against the local rulers. He defeated many of them. He defended his empire from the invasions of Mongols. During his reign, he made the Sultan's position supreme. He introduced the Persian custom of sijda, where the nobles had to kneel and touch the ground and salute the Sultan. Balban died of illness in 1287 and was succeeded by his grandson Qaykubid. But Qaykubid was not a capable ruler. He was a pleasure-seeking monarch and he soon lost his throne and eventually the throne of Delhi passed into the hands of the Khaljis. Then there came the end of the ruling of slave dynasty.